the changing of the mind is not restricted between a bracket of women or demographic or socioeconomic status. The
Mhm.
changing of the mind can be the woman in the lowest, the woman in the middle, and the woman at the supermodels. It's not contingent on that. Woman gonna change her mind, she's gonna change her mind. We're
Okay.
not we're not building off of whether she's gonna change her mind or not. We're just what I've been able to find out is that the guys who do make it into the top 10, 20% that are not compelled to want to pick one and get out of the game, they often say that if they had to do it all over again, they would have chose a woman when they were young in their 20s and built from scratch with a woman versus building an entire empire and trying to find someone who's justified to be able to come in with that. That's what I get all the time. And
So
it baffles me. I'm like, damn. Because, and then it reminds me of why, how I selected. And that's why I always argue that I was blessed when I found mine. You're not going to find them like that. But the most difficult decision a man is going to have to make is when he's 20, 21, 22, and he's sitting across from a 21, 22-year-old woman.
Mm-hmm.
The decision he going to have to make, if that woman is down, because I think we can all argue that we don't ran into some good women. It's to check out right there. And oftentimes, if you won a genetic lottery, like 6'4" Trev or 6'4" real dope dad, I don't know how tall y'all are, and y'all have this just genetic lottery, y'all are athletic and charming, it's really difficult to say, oh, yeah, I'm done at 21, 22 when you got the whole world to conquer. And that's the conversations we're having at the top. And they can do it all over again. They say, well, this money, all this chasing the status wasn't even really worth it. They would rather build empires alongside their woman.
The only way you change this is raising wives again and loyal women who are committed, who know what commitment is.
That's a fact.
They said by 2045, 45% of women are going to be childless and single. So we keep saying these things, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, the women that raised us, the grandmas that raised us, they were raised to be committed to the man they picked for life. No matter what that man did, she kept her family together. And the worst case scenario would be maybe he probably stepped out, but they knew the top men and the best men possibly could step out. And fidelity is what they were supposed to give the man. Most men don't change. Most men are as faithful as their options. So a woman went, look, I know you can get all these women. I want your resources. I want your power. I want your kids, and I want your attention. But today's women want to be the man, and they want to control the top elite man, just like you said, Bruiser. So if they're trying to still control the top elite men, and they don't want to deal with the average man who will give control of themselves and do whatever the women ask, and they don't want to deal with them, there's nothing you can do about this market unless the women change.
Well, because you're right. And the change.
Ali, hold on. I got a quick question, real quick. What percentage of women do you actually think are marriageable at this point?
Are women or women in
period?
general?
We're not restricted to women.
Either way, you can answer whatever you want. Yeah.
Women in the West.
Less than 5%.
He said less than
5%.
I say 20%.
All right, time out. So
less than 5%. So to the women, so 71% of our women are unmarried right now, right? And from 1890 to 1960, black families had the highest marriage rate, and it's declining. Every 10 years it's declining. It's getting worse and worse. We're having less babies, we're having less relationships, and we're having less families. It's going to just decline even more.
So if the families, like, let's just say this. So let's say the women who are already raised, right, to the point where they're not really trying to hear what we're saying. Yeah. What do you suggest the men of that generation do? You can't possibly promote marriage or family if you think the percentage is 5%, because that would be virtually setting them up to fail.
Yeah, we figured it out though.
So have you become black pill at that point?
It ain't becoming black pill. It's just being realistic. It's still red pill. I haven't given up hope. I still want people to get married. I still want men and women together, and we still try to tell the truth. But women look at it as shaming. Women look at it as disrespectful, even though women are still having the rhetoric of, we don't need you. I'm a boss babe. I'm a queen. I'm a goddess. I'm living my best life. Everything about living their best life is doing so 304 stuff. They giving up their families. They're giving up their children. They're giving up legacies. So I would still tell a young boy, you got to deal with the market realistically. It's not you having D discipline and she don't have P discipline. It's whoever giving you cooperation for a certain amount of time. I'm not even saying that the man should put a ring on their finger, but that's the woman who can at least get some type of commitment with you in the market we have now, because women aren't staying married. Nobody's keeping them their wives. I don't know how long y'all been married, but most of the brothers I come across been married 2 or 3 times, been divorced. Most men can't keep their wives, and 50% of the the population is divorcing, and it's getting worse than that, and it's worse with our population. But I don't know a lot of men that keeps their women.
Do you know why they're not keeping their wives?
They don't want to be kept.
That's a whole nother subjective.
Less than 5% is like
that's very low. But what I will say is we did figure it out. One of the things was what Ali said was a fact. The only way to change it is the household has to raise these women into suitable wives, and we already know how that goes. That's a stretch, and but it's not including the exception. Let's not talk about the exception. We know that there's some bits here and pieces that's gonna come out as suitable wives, and men are gonna get lucky and find them. They're gonna get married. Well, let's talk about the problem. What the fix is, we figured out, and actually it was just August the 1st, because we actually dived into the new law that came out by Trump about the immigration issue. Because the problem with a lot of passport bros is at some window it was king. It was a window where you can go over there and you can find a trad wife, a traditional woman, and you were good to go. The only problem is you couldn't bring her here because she'd be westernized, and then boom, there goes your marriage. Now, so the guys was like, okay, now we figured out a workaround. And I'm telling you, these men are genius. And I love the way men's minds work. We're always trying to figure out how to navigate. So what they did was said, fuck it, we're just going to keep our women abroad and we're going to live over there. But then something else hit. A lot more inspiration started to reach and overlap other countries, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, all over the place. And the women are starting to become feminized from abroad. So now the men are like, damn, now what do we do? Now we can't even just deal with these women. So it's just a plague. So what happened is, first, thankfully, I think Trump was listening and indirectly came out with a law. And now marriage, whenever you marry a woman, immigrant, a foreign woman, it doesn't guarantee citizenship or whatever. So now what happens is there's some footnotes, there's some underlying writing in this law that where now the passport bros just got a buff. Now they can bring their women over here, and the women have a accountability factor to where if she get out of line, or she try to hit you with a beta switch, or she try to ditch you when she get over here and get feminized, she can get her ass deported now. I call it the extradite filter.
But it's still a horrible talking point, because most nations don't want us. There's elite certain type of men that we have in our groups, or even women that can go outside.
It's not a horrible talking point, because what it does is it works as a consequence, accountability that these guys never had. There was no way to check a woman for the beta switch if you brought it over here. Now there's a fear would give the audacity of you to get out of line and become uncooperative and want to break up the marriage and abandon the marriage, because large amount of the divorces that do happen with immigrants is because the woman grow into independence, or she feel like she don't necessarily need a man, or she start embracing the culture. She get accultured, and then she end up abandoning the marriage. But now with this law, there's an accountability on the side. There's a consequence for a woman doing that, and she can be deported. So now that's a factor that's going to help men safely bring their wives in and live at ease with the fact that they're going to be able to keep their woman. And it might be a performance, but nevertheless, they'll be able to keep their woman in check.
Most Indian women want Indian men. Most white women want white men.
I'm just arguing the fact that the men who are able to get the women to come over.
That's a horrible tactic as well too. That when men are pushing passport bros, the only work around this is black women and black men working together. We just gotta get our women right. The Nation of Islam said.
I'm not arguing that that's not a good idea too, but I do know there are some guys, and they've come on this panel that prefer to be able to be with other women, and I don't have a problem with it.
Can I blame Bruiser?
Go ahead.
The Nation of Islam already said it. You raise a man, you raise an individual. You raise a woman, you raise a nation. Black men and women are still who black men and women prefer the most, and other races don't want us. Some of us may get out of this. Some of our family members may get out of it. But for the most part, ain't nothing going to be fixed until we fix each other and we work on each other.
Well, I disagree. I believe I think black men is number 2 on the list of highly desired men.
So if 95% of black men wanted to date outside the race, you think they can get a wife?
Yep. Most definitely. Yeah. We're the number 2 on the list of being highly desired.
But still, and I'm not recommending that, but I do want to know how you feel about this, Ali. What if somebody said they want to go to the motherland and grab a wife over there. Would you
They're
be good with
still
that?
so it's something you can possibly do, right? I was talking with the brother about that yesterday as well too. But most of those women still want to deal with the men from their nations, from their cultures. They want the men from their backgrounds. Y'all realize how much we have these conversations when we talk about race and we talk about Africans and black people not liking each other. Then for the convenience conversation, we go, you know what, black men, black women, you can just go to the motherland and find a wife and wife and husband. But we've been telling black men and black women, Africans don't like y'all. So is it the Africans like us, or Africans
it's not
don't
difficult.
like us?
It's not difficult to find a wife.
No,
over
it's
there
not
at
a
all.
different. It's not a different conversation. You can't say Africans.
No, I didn't say it's different. I said it's not difficult to find a wife over there at all. So
I think Africans.
And I was in the military. Bro. I'm telling you, every time I went overseas.
So again, you think that if our men left this country, most of those women would marry black men?
I do.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah!
If that's what we wanted to do, and that's not I don't think that's still
especially if you weren't a genetic
I feel
lottery
like it's
too.
an option. I don't think we're gonna fix our problems here by doing that.
Percentage of men could.
Yeah.
Yes, the men most definitely can.
I could agree with that.
Especially black men.
But yeah, the men absolutely can do that.
I think China is starting to lean towards black men.
If you look at the population, if you look at the populations, there's not that many of us over here. What do we got? Like 20 mil? Right?
Yeah, bro. Ali, you gotta understand, your melanin skin, bro.
That's like one country.
The black man, bro. I'm telling you, man, you're gonna be surprised when you figure out how many women in different demographics and different races and cultures.
I know
love the black man.
So I know a lot of. Don't forget, I'm mixed, right? I know a lot of Arabs. I know a lot of Indian people. I know a lot of Hispanics. I know a lot of white folk. Most of these people still have a certain sentiment about black folk. They still act a certain way around black folk. We can deny it all we want to, but they still look down on us. And Africans, I ain't gonna say most of Africans may do that. We have certain people that don't look down on us, and we have certain people that do. But for the most part, there's still a stigma surrounding around black men.
What I would argue, given the landscape we live in now, when black women are responsible for more deaths of black men just by way of abortion, more doubling or tripling the deaths in the Vietnam War on the rate of abortion, that it's not a stretch to go and try your hand with other races that might dislike you. Some people argue that the black women in America over the past 20 to 30 years has been the most challenging or
you see how you flipped your message though?
Earlier
you were telling men
it's not my message. Remember how I premised my statement. I said some content creators are arguing that. I'm not saying that was my position or my argument, but I'm just giving you an understanding.
Black men marry black women. I want you to stand on it.
Let me respond. Black man should marry whatever woman he want to marry.
Here we go.
Whatever outcome he want to have. He shouldn't be. I don't think any man, regardless of your race, should be restricted to any type of woman or any race of woman. One thing I push, and it has made me successful in the content I make, is I've been able to help people go after the outcomes they want. I believe everybody should be a STEM major, a tech. But I've run into some guys that are great at videography and photography. And I told them, damn that, nigga, dude, you need to go be a photographer. And these guys are going out here killing it, filming and documenting wedding. I think Viz is a videographer too. But it doesn't matter what I think. It all matters. Whenever you're able to help people, if you're able to master and being able to get around what you want specifically, and just figure out what desired outcome does a person sitting in front of you want, and figure out how to get there from the shortest path of least resistance, you're gonna find yourself successful in a lot of these spaces. So this is business 101, bro.
So remember, we said that women only wanted 20% of the men here, right? And now we're going to preach that these same 80% of men can go to another country and find women that want them, as if it's not spreading. Have y'all been? I don't know if Bruce, I see you on TikTok. You don't see how these African women are now?
Yeah, I see it.
They're becoming American. They're becoming westernized. All these women becoming westernized.
So it depends on what part of Africa.
No, but they don't like a lot of their men either, Trev. So now we're gonna send the men here that women don't like, women don't like, and now we're gonna send them somewhere else where they don't like them either.
But I will say this: there are signals, market value signals that you can have, that you can showcase, and even if you don't win a genetic lottery on height, there's other ways to compensate for that and elevate in other areas that make you more marketable to women. And a lot of the times we try to get guys to do that before just vacating the country as a whole, because we don't just tell people to do that. We actually go out there and do it ourselves. Like you got guys like Real Dope. is got bank, bro. He can take a woman to fucking Ritz-Carlton tomorrow if he want to, and keep his business afloat and not take a dip in his account and still continue to manage money. We figured out these strategies, and what we're trying to tell you is we're trying to give the game to guys so they can do the same, but a lot of them are just not receptive. It's hard work. It's not easy.
So if they go overseas,
what we're trying to do is compensate. We're trying to compensate for the energy that our fathers didn't have. And from brother to brother, we're able to channel that energy and say, hey, look, this is hard work, but if you do it, you will get the results. And a lot of guys are just trying not to hear that.